Hello mate, I'm Ryan. This is Tiny Automations, and today I'm going to show you a nifty little automation that I use to take stress and tedium out of release emails. I'm an engineering manager, so when our team does a release, I have to email the wider company with the highlights of the release, version, etc. Now, obviously, because it's to the wider company, it can be to hundreds of people, so it needs to be consistent, to the point, and correct. I already track release details in Obsidian anyway, so I thought, why not use Obsidian data views with buttons to make my life easier and automate the creation of the release emails. So here it is. This is using Obsidian data views, Obsidian buttons, and macOS shortcuts. Enjoy. Cheers.
So let me show you this automation in progress. We've got a data view here that pulls in unpublished blog posts. So here we've got front matter on that blog post. So we've got a title, description, whether it's published or not, and what site it belongs to. And in this data view, we've got a button here that says release email, and that takes the data from that release process automation page, from the front matter YAML, and we click on it, and it takes in the title and puts it as a subject, and then describes what the post is about. Now this is for doing release emails. This is just an example of what you can do. This isn't actually how I use it for my day-to-day job, but it gives a great example of how to use it. Let me just recap what that's doing. So we've got blog posts that we're writing here with, this is just an example again, but with this YAML front matter. It's got a title, description, whether it's published or not, and what site it belongs to. And then we go back and we've got a data view here, and this data view just takes unpublished blog posts. So we can see what we still need a release, and then we can click on a release email button. That's just a pop-up to show the data coming through. I'll get rid of that in the end. And then it creates a draft email for me to send on to the wider company. So let's show you how to do it. Let's start with the data view and how we're pulling this data in. So if we look at the actual code here, it's pulling anything from my folder called Tiny Automations, so any file, and where published is false, so it's not published, and it contains Tiny Automations as the site. As you can see, that matches, that matches 3. And what we want to do is we want to put a button in here. I've got 2 example buttons down here. But what we'll do is we'll put the button code in here. So as you can see, I'll just put button for now so you can see what happens. It comes in this column here. So where I've put that string of button in capitals there, we'll replace that with the code from the button. And just a reminder, this information within this data view is pulled in from your Markdown files. Now let me give you a quick run through the buttons. I've got a couple of examples here. This is a simplified version, and this is the complex version that we'll be actually using to pass the data to the shortcut. You need the buttons plugin for this to work. So that is this one here by Sam Morrison, and what that does, that enables you to use this button syntax to create your buttons. So if I were to take that simplified button syntax and pop it in where we've got button, as you can see, we've already got a release email there. And what that does is that calls run shortcut, but it won't open anything because we've not actually put the parameters in. In here you can see it's a little bit more complex what we're doing. So this here is a URL encoded string that matches the shortcut that we want to open. So as you can see, TA Tiny Automations create draft email, and and that's there. So that's the name of the shortcut. We want to input text, and the text equals this monster string here. So this monster string will be a JSON representation of what we want to pass in, and it contains title, description, and tags. And what this does here, this builds a JSON representation, and it also URL encodes. This is the only way I've found to URL encode so far within the data view. So it's a little bit messy, and I just do replacements of the special characters. If you know a better way, please let me know, because I couldn't find anything on the web. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to combine this more complicated button with the data view. This is where the power comes from. I love this. So once we've done that, we get a load of buttons again. You click on that release email. Now what I've got, the shortcut just popping up this show shortcut input, you can see here. So it just shows us the JSON that we've passed. So that looks perfect. So we've got the title, and that's how I took the stress of release emails, blah, blah, blah. Description, yeah. Tags, yeah, perfect. And what this does in this shortcut, it goes through and it uses, let me close that, as you can see it's perfectly created. But you can see here that we get the dictionary from shortcut input, and what that does with that JSON, that automatically strips out the values. So we get the values for the title and the description and the tags, and then we can use them here by just grabbing the dictionary as a magic variable and get value for key description, etc. So we can create emails, or we can create whatever we like, really. I'll do a more in-depth look at this for the next video. So that's it. We're combining macOS shortcuts with Obsidian data views, and it's super powerful. I mean, you're only limited by your imagination if you love this kind of thing like me. So if you're automating anything or have any ideas for automations that you'd like to see, just hit me up. I'm either at Tiny Automations or at Ryan Morby. Cheers.